Welcome. Welcome to the world of Q&Asa. Past, present, future of gaming all converging into this one place, and we will talk about it and have some fun. How's everyone doing? Tony yelling that you need some Coke. Tony, you've quit Coke. You're going to have to find an alternative. Hope that's going all right for you, though. Painful Discourse has been a little while. That's immediate identifying the music. You can have like bonus points for that one. Yes, the OST today is from Dark Souls 3. The background replicant definitely already knows, but bonus points if you can give me point in time of when this was captured. Yeah, Peter Morgan, you've been listening to a band so old, probably no one's ever heard of them. Spirit. I mean, Spirit is like quite a generic name though, so I don't know them as a band, but Dark Souls 3 main screen theme. That's the problem, isn't it? I started with like a signature track rather than mixing it up and going for something else. Isla's obviously here for a little bit, but going to the shops. Dramatic. Painful Discourse, hope your weird day is like in some way positive and not just terrible. And Peter, I've got to apologise. I haven't watched the Starfield marketing cartoons yet. So we can talk about them a little bit, but I'm going to be shooting in the dark, not really understanding. And episode 13, welcome again. It's good to see you around again. Tando, I'm so sorry we haven't had a fight recently. I do still have Street Fighter 6. I just keep forgetting that I still have Street Fighter 6. But it will happen. It will happen. How is everyone doing? Before we get into the show, as we always do, been listening to Massive Attack's Pray for England through the day. Wait, what? What? Has something happened in England that I'm not aware of? Not sure what's going on there. I have, right before coming on, I very stupidly ate a really hot chili con carne that I made for myself. So I'm a bit sweatier than usual. A little bit shinier. We'll call it like a glow. I've got a wet glow about me. You're on Halo watching on mobile. Good. Space Denizen, welcome. Episode 13, you're all over Halo at the moment, aren't you? You're loving it. Nice soundtrack. Good. I wrote it myself. I definitely didn't. Before we get into it, let's do a little word from our sponsor. Our sponsor is Game On Daily. It is website, news aggregation, wonderful platform that I hope you'll start using because I want to talk to people on there and make it all the better. Look, it's got all kinds of content. Here's a review for Exo Primal. I played that. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna watch the trailer. I'm not gonna watch the trailer. I'm on the wrong account. Morbo is my News Monster account. It's not real. I love Exo Primal. There we go. Conversations flowing. Use Game On Daily. It's really nice. Either I'm not on Top Chat. Thank you very much. But you can have the points anyway. Space Denizen. The OST was identified within 3 seconds of the stream starting. Remarkably quick, so I'm afraid you can't spoil it. It's already gone. Painful Discourse donated that number with Mage Academy. MA. Yes. Yes. She has passed. It is sad. I don't really know the story there. I know, obviously this is not the topic for today, but I know she had a sad last year or whatever. It's a very recognizable soundtrack. Yes, it is. Okay. Let's go into the games. No, let's go into how Q&Asa works. You all know how it works. You've all been here before, but many ways for conversation to happen. The first and foremost primary one that I hope people enjoy using is just a chat. Type in there, chat things, say things to me, say things to each other, and we have a nice little back and forth and just talk through the show. Talk about whatever the hell we want, wherever the topics take us. I do have a couple of things lined up, but it always kind of deviates and goes all over the place in a good way. So talk to me, talk to each other in chat. That's method number 1. Method number 2, if I'm missing your message because there's just too much going on or because I'm a prude and Tony said something outrageous, you can make me give attention to your messages by sticking them in the YouTube Q&A box at the end. In fact, it's already open. Isla's already opened it. It says Truth or Dare. We're not playing Truth or Dare. That's false. Isla, that's false. I am not a child. I can talk my way around a Truth or Dare. But you can put whatever you want in there, and I will address whatever you say in some manner. Which may be just as simple as I'm not giving you truth or taking a dare. Nice evening in Stormwind. It is, but what period in the history of World of Warcraft was this taken? I think you probably do know. But yes. Third way that you can talk to me No one does this one, and that's absolutely fine. But if you want to present your face and or your voice, Isla, I'm not ignoring you. I'll read your question in a second. Third way that you can talk to me is, yeah, you can present your face, you can present your voice to the world, to the entirety of the internet. I'm pretty sure most of the internet is watching this show right now. You can just join the Game On Daily Discord channel. Look over on the left, there's a whole load of different channels. One of them is the Q&Asa section. Stick yourself in one of the waiting rooms there, and you can come talk for a couple of minutes. Dave Mack, welcome. Thank you for playing Exo Primal with us. It was good fun. And the fourth way that you can talk, communicate with me, is of course the YouTube super chat. I'm running a special discount this evening. I will read out any super chats over the value of 200 monies. That's my special offer for the evening. It doesn't apply to badges. If you're a channel member, I'm afraid you get no discount. So 800 monies for you if you want me to read your super chat. Am I serious? Of course I'm not serious. I'm discouraging you from super chatting though. The option is there, but I'd rather you didn't use it. It makes me uncomfortable. So let's get on with it. Isla's question: do I mind you uploading a video without my permission straight onto the channel? Can you upload a video to my channel without approval? Is that a technical question? Like, will YouTube allow you to do that? Or are you asking for my approval even though you're not asking for my approval? I don't fully understand the question. I'll give it a try and you'll find out. I will not object. You say this is Cataclysm period. Oh, replicant. No, this is the it's the Dragonflight pre-patch event. So quite recent. I would not have gone back however many, like 10 years ago to when Cataclysm launched to record footage. This is recent footage. The Dragonflight appeared over Stormwind just before the current expansion released. You like making me uncomfortable? Well, Painful Discourse, I'll take that $200 super chat then. 200 monies, but you know, awkward. Has anyone watched the BBC Earth series? It's amazing. I haven't, Peter. I haven't. Let's talk about games. What's everyone been playing? I've been playing a bunch of stuff and I can't remember it all. So hopefully been like a few people here will know what I've been playing and can jog my memory. Yesterday I was on the Warcraft 3 campaign, which is still my favorite of Blizzard's games. It's not the only Blizzard game that I like. I've said before that, like, of all developers across the universe, I've invested more hours into Blizzard games than any other. Warcraft 3 is my favorite. Probably spent more time all in World of Warcraft just because it's a different type of game, but Warcraft 3 is brilliant and it still is fun to play, so I was having fun playing a bit of that. Have I played Grounded before? Dave Mack, I have only played it for like, what state did it launch in? Before the actual launch, but I know it was in early access and beta for like a year. The very early period where you could only get up to like the first lab with a little robot in there. I played it at that point in time. Haven't played it since. I have it installed right now and I have the VR mod ready to configure. So I am very likely to be on Grounded in the near future in virtual reality, looking at giant spiders and probably peeing on my treadmill. But no, I haven't played it recently. Is that what you've been on, Dave Mack? Is it good now? PC, you're right. Colt has spent many hours on that, playing with his family, with his kids, building all kinds of things. He is a big fan of Grounded. But I will like it even more because I'll be playing it in virtual reality, which improves everything, surely. Especially when it's like the environment that it's set in is such a good fit. Scale will be so much more impressive and intimidating. Shroud's playing it right now. It's the best survival game in a very long time. Oh, that's curious. Survival's not typically a genre for me, but I did quite like Grounded's a good concept for a survival game. So yeah, I'll be playing that in the near future, assuming that the VR mod is not terrible. And I've not been massively pleased with the mod for Cyberpunk, so I need it to look a bit cleaner. Then I'll play Grounded a bunch in VR. I think the VR mod still supports all of the cross-platform co-op as well. So yeah, exactly, Replicant. The scale will be, like, I'll be in awe and terror in equal measure. But I will have whoever wants to play Grounded in there with me to hold my butt cheeks, hold my hand, you know, help me with the terror. You updated PGA Tour to K23. Are there any VR mods for that? So Peter, if there were VR mods for PGA Tour, they wouldn't be as good as a native VR golf game, because it's very unlikely that they'd be able to mod in like actually swinging a golf club. If you do enjoy golf, if you can like lower your standards and play some mini golf, some crazy golf instead, then Walkabout Mini Golf in virtual reality is a really good game, really good social game that some people should play with me. I would enjoy that. Give you a shout when I start it. I will do, Dave Mack. I will try and announce it loud and clear. You need to play it with friends. It's hard. Yeah, good. Good. That is definitely on the agenda. I will mod it up and see what it's like. Keep going. Give me more games. Yes, Space Denizen Walkabout is an essential social game. I'll play with you at some point. I'll probably win. I'm brilliant. I won't win, but it's good fun. Drink. You would if you weren't a pancake gamer. Evening Joe, how you doing? Oh, Peter, I don't know. Maybe I'll get you in VR one day. Maybe. What else have I been playing? So Warcraft 3 was still fun. I'm still quite near the start of the campaign, going through the like signature moments of Arthas's descent into Lichdom, which is alright. It's good fun. The remaster of it, Warcraft 3 Reforged, took a lot of stick when it launched as an underwhelming remaster because it didn't include certain things that Blizzard promised that it would. But if you ignore all of the marketing spiel around it and you don't get caught up in that side, actually it's really good. It's fun to play. Works well on a nice PC. So having a good time. You finished up Dredge and you're replaying Tony Hawk's this week. Fair. So you still rate Dredge after 2 weeks of playing it. Replicant, you've been playing Remnant 2. Are you playing on the PC? Are you playing on the 4090? Are you having trouble running it? Remnant 2 is supposed to be a really good game and a bastard to run. Peter, your VR experience doesn't even count. Like Google and Nintendo cardboard things. Just say you have no experience of VR, because those are not it. And who knows? I'm not saying you'll definitely love it. Maybe you'll try a real one and you'll just be sick. But it is a big departure from those. Dave Mack, did we get another win in Exo Primal the other night? We got loads of wins. We actually finished on a streak of like 3 or 4 wins, and I'm not even lying. This is a true story. It's still on the internet, so people can check. I might be bluffing. No, I'm pretty sure we won the last 3 or 4 games. Uh-oh, your signal is arse. So, no mods. Run wild, everyone. Do what you want. I'm a mod, but I'm a very lazy one, so... Freedom. What else have I been playing? Keep telling me what you've been playing as well, because I like to... It's my favourite part of the show, finding out what's going on with games, how they are from real people. Tony, we won because of you. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was me. Does Exo Primal have PvE only yet? It doesn't, Joe. The PvE mode of it, we discovered, or other people already knew, but I discovered on our last session that the PvE mode is just a race. Like, it's PvE in that you can't directly shoot the other team. It's just, it takes the race portion of the competitive game and just makes that the entirety of it from start to finish. Doesn't really count as PvE to me. Although someone did say that if you get to a certain point in the game, you actually do get cooperative raids where both teams have to get together and kill a raid boss at the end. So in that sense, sure, it has PvE. But if you're looking for a linear world-told campaign, no, it's just keep jumping into multiplayer modes and see what unfolds. It's surprisingly fun though. We'll talk about Exo Primal a little bit in a minute, because obviously that's one that I've actually had completely forgotten that I've been playing that, but I have been playing that. Dave Mack, I like your enthusiasm, but no one's rallying behind you at the moment. The stream is still, like, not even Tony's done anything controversial, so it's pretty safe. Tony, can you believe these haters hating on ultra-wide because they don't have one? Tony, I don't like ultra-wide. It's not convenient for streaming. If I want a weird aspect ratio, I can just like stick cardboard on the top and bottom of my normal screen and pretend that it's ultra wide. It's the same thing, right? Or I can do it properly and get like the ultimate ultra wide, which is a virtual reality headset. Replicant not a fan of ultra wide. I'm not either. I will say it's probably going to be the best way to play Hellblade 2. Because that game's going to force them. It's going to force that aspect ratio on you regardless from what we've seen of it. So you might as well use your screen real estate. You've not experienced greatness. I need the heart to get out of the way. I can't read the comments. Well, we'll talk about fanboys and stuff a bit later. That'll be exciting for everyone. So what else have I been playing though before Exo Primal? So I've been playing Diablo. I'm gonna pause myself and get Dave Mack's comment. Do I think that Microsoft will ever make a VR headset? So Dave Mack, Microsoft actually did. They didn't make a headset directly. They made a headset standard that they licensed to third parties to make headsets for them. So Microsoft have made many headsets through that channel using HP and Lenovo and all of these other kind of third-party companies to make headsets to Microsoft specification. That was back when they were a bit more cool than they are now. And they were kind of experimenting. Their headsets were actually not terrible. I've got an HP Reverb G2 I actually still have sitting over there. It's a really good headset. If it weren't for the fact that I'm addicted to wireless, I might still use it. But no, I need the wireless stuff. I'm gonna make video on it. What, Microsoft's virtual reality shenanigans? Don't know about that. Maybe one day. Do I think that Microsoft will make a VR headset in the near future though, or for the console audience? No, I don't. When augmented reality pushes the medium a little further on, they might eventually dabble. Am I getting the Apple VR? Like, if I get these $800 super chats rolling in, Dave Mack, maybe I'll get the Apple VR. Without those, probably not. I'll say it doesn't actually interest me that much, Apple's headset. So if it was like 600 quid instead of 3,500, I still wouldn't buy it. Anything under 500 I could probably be tempted, but it doesn't even have controllers. Like, it's not going to be a gaming headset really. I'm not disinterested in the technology, but it's not, I don't know, it's not the one. It's not as cool as the Quest Pro, which, like, it's a maligned headset that launched too expensive and got negative feedback from like even enthusiasts. But it's a brilliant headset. I love the Quest Pro as a headset. It is brilliant. So I'm very happy in there, and I'm very confident that the Quest 3 will also be a brilliant headset. So look out for that one in like 2 or 3 months. Microsoft will hold back while several techs fight it out. Microsoft will hold back until, yeah, it's established and big business, and then it'll be too late for them. On Back, a good movie. Tony, if you like mindless violence, like, it's not got a good plot. It's got Tony Jaa flying from off screen going, ha! Smash with his elbows onto people's heads. It's a good movie in that regard. Like, it's quite, I don't want to say authentic, because that stuff's a bit silly, but he is a genuine Muay Thai guy doing movie stuff, so it's quite entertaining. Ip Man better. Ip Man makes for a decent movie. I don't know about Ip Man 76 or whatever number they're up to now, but the first one was good. Microsoft don't need to be Betamax again. Yes, they do, Peter. I would argue Microsoft have a responsibility to be the forerunners of various kinds of technology. The size that they are, and the fact that they're like buying up all of these studios and all the rest of it, they can't. It's like they've got this role as a tech leader, so they need to lead in tech. Or, I don't know, fade away. Piss off. They only have Ip Man 1 to 4. Anything else is trash. You really enjoyed the quad. But Ip Man, what's all like, oh, it's a true story of his life for Ip Man 1. And then they went, whoa, people like this movie. Let's detail his retirement or whatever, I assume. I've not watched the rest, but I assume they get a little bit less real as they go. If you like that though, Tony, you might like Ong Bak. It's like a reputable martial arts movie. Silly story, low budget, but quite entertaining fighting, I think. I haven't watched it for a long time. What else? So, Diablo I've been playing. Diablo 4 and Diablo... I just remortgaged the house. It's an idea, Dave Mack, except sadly already remortgaged the house to build Game On Daily, so that's not an option. Baz Crypt Keeper, welcome. What have you been playing? Diablo 4 and Diablo 3. I played both of those this week. What a treat. Diablo 4 I played on stream a couple of days ago, where I just like moaned about my sorcerer as I normally do. Magical Trevor, great song, bad character in Diablo 4. But I also happened to play at the weekend some Diablo 3 with my wife. And oh no, the hard drive talk has begun. Last week I said Demon Souls PlayStation 5 was easy for people out there that found it difficult and frustrating. Could I recommend Elden Ring? Yes, Joe. Elden Ring has more... It's baseline more difficult than Demon Souls, but it's more open. So you can find... It's easier to, like, come back later. Go and do something else. Power up a bit. And then go and face the challenges later. And Elden Ring is a wonderful game to explore, so yes, I would recommend it, even if you struggle with Demon Souls. How bad are you playing the Serious Sam Siberian Mayhem at the moment? I would like... So Game Pass says that's only like 4 to 6 hours long. 4-player co-op standalone expansion for Serious Sam. I was going to suggest people can play that one with me if they want. Tony is playing Overwatch 2 and hitting Grand Master status, ready for me to drag you down when we play together. Lost Boomer... I'm sure that's a reference to Ratchet and Clank, and we will get there later. Box standard hard drive. South Mole, Elden Ring is more open, therefore easier to grind in easy areas. Yes. Exactly. Serious Sam is hard. Good. All of the other Serious Sam games can be played in VR. Fun. Robocop collection for $15. Tony, I've got no idea. What Robocop games are in the Robocop collection? Or are you talking about the movies? I know there's a Robocop game coming from the Terminator Salvation people, but I don't know about the collection. You got green Pringles, quick, eat them before you get home, you stinky green Pringle, yeah. Ospimi, you can navigate around bosses. Demon Souls is like hitting a wall and you have to go through it. Yeah, like quite a papery wall that's normally quite easy to go through, but yes, Elden Ring has that option to go elsewhere until you're ready. Oh, Tony movies. The Terminator game looks good. Did I see the trailer? You mean the old Terminator game, Tony? Terminator Salvation or whatever it's called. No, that's the name more on the films. A free update for the Terminator game. A belated update for the Terminator game. It was a weird one because they did a PlayStation 5 update like 2 years ago and they left the Xbox Series consoles out on their asses. So, very strange timing. They changed their minds. And gave us an update on the Xbox as well. Robocop game looks awesome. So Replicant, if you like the look of the Robocop game, it probably is worth trying that Terminator one. Painful Discourse is hyped for Armored Core 6 after the deep dive. Most people seem to be. Isla has a Pringles problem. She has so many problems, yes. Safmore, having said that, you booted up Elden Ring this week and you were terrible. Need to shake off the rust. Yeah, I've still got Elden Ring on my to-do list. I'm like a fair number of hours into it, but completely without purpose, lost in the world, not knowing what I'm doing, so it'll be quite hard to pick up. Yes, Replicant, Robocop is from the same devs as the Terminator game. That's why I say it's worth going back. If you're looking forward to Robocop, it's probably worth going back and playing that Terminator game to see if they actually make good games or not. Gross. What smells worse, cigarettes or green Pringles? Definitely cigarettes. Yeah. Not bad if you like the Terminator films, but Baz, which Terminator films? Because Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 were brilliant, and everything after that point was a freaking travesty that I use as a life lesson. The Terminator films are where I learned that we can't have good things. That money-grabbing commercial types will destroy everything we love. Salvation. Salvation's was not bad. It's too late, I'm afraid. Too late. Terminator had to end after 2. Level 249. Second playthrough on the PlayStation 5. You've got PlayStation 5 and Xbox Ones to play. Level 249 on Elden Ring. That must be like 1,000,000 hours. Ish, give or take. 1,000,000 hours or a tidy exploit. You don't know what means. Right. Prey Dog Terminator. Well, yeah. When that mod actually comes out, Space Denizen, there's going to be so much to play. I saw, speaking of VR mods, the Team Beef's Star Wars Jedi, whatever it's called, game is on PC now, so that means I can treadmill that around. All good fun. Anyway, Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. I played both very recently, and I complained a fair amount about Diablo 4 because I don't feel that building out the character is as fun as it was in 3. And while I was streaming it the other day, this game is not good, it's okay. While I was streaming it the other day, I used the Frost Orb ability that my sorcerer has as like a kind of an example of why 4 is less fun to build out than 3. Because the Frost Orb, I don't quite like the function, I don't quite like the way that it works. It fires over a certain distance, it does damage along the way, and then it explodes and does like the bulk of its damage a certain distance away from your character, so it forces you to keep like a mid-range away from your enemies as you fight, which is fine. But I'm a frost sorcerer, which means most of my stuff is spec towards doing damage with ice, and if I want my main ability to be useful, it has to be one of the 2 frost abilities. I can use this Frost Orb, or I can fire some icicles at a single target. I like the Frost Orb, but I want to change it, and I can't. The only options that I have around Frost Orb are each of the skills branches into 2, and I can make the enemies vulnerable for a bit, or do something with my mana, like something completely non-visible, not distinct, kind of boring. So Frost Orb is Frost Orb. If it was Diablo 3 and I got the equivalent of Frost Orb, there would be 6 runes available for it that would change the behavior of it, that would let me change it to a fire orb or a poison orb or an arcane orb, or make it bounce around the screen a bit, make it bigger, make it not explode at all of these things to change the behavior of it and make it like the build that I want for my own sorcerer. And Diablo 4 just doesn't have that. And it's just like I've said before, when I was playing with the family and they asked me how they should build their character in Diablo 3, I always got to say, like, however you want. Look at the skills that are there, pick the ones that sound fun, and then try them. And if they're not fun, pick a different one that sounds fun, and make a character that you want. Respond to the like combat as it goes. If you need more survival, then spec into some survival stuff. If you need more damage, then start looking at that. Just go and have fun. And Diablo 4 does not offer me that whatsoever. I'm a frost mage. These are my 2 abilities. I best learn how to use them. But it is pretty, and it does seem to be telling a nice enough story. Hopefully. I think I've got I'm still on Act 1, so I've got a long way to go to see it through. And I do kind of look forward to making some hardcore seasonal characters and dying. Replica Diablo 3 is more fun than Diablo 4. See, a month ago, that would have been a really unpopular opinion. Now, it took me like a week or 2 from launch to arrive at that conclusion, but I'm pretty set on it now. Playing them side by side, it's like, if you're playing a Witch Doctor on Diablo 3, they're just fun. Creative. Dave Mac, did I try Lost Ark? No, Lost Ark looks really, really pretty. My oldest lad was playing it a bit. It looks really, really pretty, but it looks like it has an awful monetization model. So I just cannot abide that free-to-play game as it may be, like pay to continue kind of mechanics. Ruined. It's a shame. If there was a version of Lost Ark that stripped all of that out and was just an actual game that you pay for, it would probably be amazing. Replicant, you gave up on Lost Ark. Why? Why did you give up on Lost Ark? How did you find it? How long did you spend on it? Isla, you moved your screen to the other side of the room so that you could play Minecraft on Switch while the video rendered. Oh, speaking of Switch, I saw some people talking about a battery pack for the Xbox controller. There's a little switch, like a little switch on the back of it. It has a couple of paddles on the back of it as well, but the little switch on the back of it lets you toggle it into becoming a controller for the Nintendo Switch. That should have arrived. That should be in the hallway right now, but it means I can use one of my Xbox controllers, flip a little switch, and use it on the Nintendo Switch as a Switch controller. So I can actually have a decent controller for when Nintendo eventually reduce the price of Breath of the Wild. I've got a controller to play it on now. I can stream that. It'll be great fun. I normally stream at too high a resolution. That's awkward. But yeah, that's a weird little thing. I can't remember what it was called. If anyone's interested in that little device, though, I'll ask and I'll remember what it's called and let you know. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to assume that it's perfect. Sophomore, you're level 20, you're level 238 for Elden Ring with 10 days of playtime. Yeah, that's a million hours. I know how days work. Daypack, you bought the 8-bit though to use your Elite Series 2 controller on your Switch. Is that also wireless? Lost Boomer, you have the Pro Controller. I was tempted by the Pro Controller, but I do not play on the Switch. I'm just waiting for that Breath of the Wild discount. There's been, actually, there's loads of Switch games that I would like to play. I would like to play all of the Xenoblade Chronicle games. I'd like to play like Astral Chain and things like that. They've been releasing cracking games for that thing for a long time. But all at this piss poor quality. All on the actual Switch itself, so I could look into emulation. I don't know. There's a lot to play, so I just haven't got around to it. So that was Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 that I played. Keep feeding me with things that you've been playing though. I know you've been playing more than that. I know there's more people here, so I I get most of my impressions of games. So we get all of these like reviews from all kinds of people, and there's some that are really good reviewers, but hearing what actual people say and recommend, you get so much more of a diverse picture because you're all out playing all kinds of weird things. Plugs into the Switch dock. So this thing's supposed to be wireless, and it's very cheap. So if it works, I'll be happy. If it doesn't work, I've not really lost anything because I don't actually use the Switch. What else have I been playing? Have I played anything in virtual reality this week? I've had a freaking nightmare in virtual reality. Freaking nightmare. I love virtual reality and it's been so difficult for me. Everything was working perfectly. I got my new treadmill. That was like a bit of a nightmare to set up, but eventually it's working basically perfectly now. Really like the treadmill. Went to play Skyrim live on stream, and you all pointed out to me that like all you could see was this zombie's gonads. I was just only recording the bottom half of my field of view, so I'd be looking forward to fighting stuff and you just see their legs. And that's like, this is so painful for me that now VR capture has broken, and it turns out the app that I usually use to smooth off my virtual reality capture and make it a bit more pleasant to watch has decided to now capture the bottom half of the screen in a really awkward way. So I had to find a solution for that, and I found a solution for that, and then I broke my solution to that. I broke virtual reality, PC virtual reality entirely, and made it so that my headset just would not see the PC anymore. And it took about 6 hours of troubleshooting to fix it. That counts as games, right? Oh, you got a wireless thing that plugs into the dock and it costs like $12. Well, that is good. Joe, you've been on a Sea of Stars demo. It seemed cool, but it's not your usual bag. I'm going to play Sea of Stars at some point, but I've got like a fair backlog of like RPGs and the like. The Airfield Chronicles, Tales of Arise, those are both sitting installed on consoles waiting for me to play for the last year or two. I've not played Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon yet, which also counts as one of those. And then this Chained Echoes is supposed to be good, as well as Sea of Stars coming out. I haven't played Triangle Strategy. I haven't played Octopath Traveler 2. I haven't played Bravely Default 2. These are all like high on my list of things that I want to play because I like that genre of game. But they are fairly long and time is so difficult. And Xenoblade Chronicles, that's very high on my list as well. 2 and 3. You wasn't going to, but you got Ratchet on CD keys. How much was Ratchet on CD keys, Replicant? I lost Boomer, you finished Fist. I saw you uploaded a massive video series of playing through Fist. And you started Ashen, yes. And Ridge Racer 2 on PlayStation Monthly. Does Ridge Racer 2 still feel fun now? I didn't particularly like it when it came out. I didn't like the turning on a dime kind of mechanic that it has. Oh, Space Denizen, my VR story has made you sad. Don't worry, I've got it fixed. I've got it fixed and working wonderfully. So, I'm now using Airlink for the connection. Tweaked through all of the debug tool options that you can to make it super sharp, super nice. All the local dimming that the Quest Pro has. All of the features that I can hope for. It looks freaking awesome in the headset. So yeah, I will be back on the VR, on the treadmill, doing all kinds of cool stuff. It just took about 6 hours to get it working again. I haven't had a chance to actually play it. But I sure as hell will. Apart from Pavlov, which I really can't get to work. Which is a shame because I really wanted to play that one. You'd kill for a new Ridge Racer. Why, Replicant? Why a new Ridge Racer? What's the vibe that Ridge Racer has that modern racing games don't have? Drifting? No, I love drifting, Lost Boomer. So Ridge Racer, the ones that I played, which I think it wasn't 2 to be fair. I think I played a lot of maybe Ridge Racer 4 and possibly Ridge Racer 1. And those games you didn't drift, you drove headlong towards a wall and then you turned on the spot and went that way. It wasn't a drift, it was like an on the spot turn that was really awkward and weird. Overly effective kind of handbrake turn. Drifting's different. Drifting, like the cars are weighty and stuff, and Ridge Racer wasn't really that. Again, like maybe 2 was, but the ones that I played had a weird handling model to me. But I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's necessarily like a bad game or anything. I'm just curious, what about the vibe of it are we missing in the likes of Forza Horizon and obviously other arcadey races, The Crew and Drive Club? I don't know what racing games are good these days. What would a new Ridge Racer game be? Oh, Need for Speed, that's a racing game. Ridge Racer 6, what was the... I'm really trying to remember which one I played. I think it was on the PlayStation 1 and I specifically got it because it supported the system link. So you could link 2 PlayStations together and play it full screen with other people. So I got it specifically for that purpose and then pretty much never touched it because we spent too long on Command & Conquer Red Alert instead. But it was quite a rare feature to have in a game. Ridge Racer 6 was on the 360, 7 was a launch PS3 game, so no, it's a much older one that I played. System link on the PlayStation 1. Ah, so long ago. So long ago. I want to play... Oh, fuck's sake. I want to play retro games as well. I want to play so many things. But just the list of, like, Japanese RPGs on my backlog is... gonna last me... I'll be dead before I get through even that small list. Let alone all of these other ones. Let alone going back to the retro consoles. Sad times, sad times. Ridge Racer 7 was one of the few 1080p 60 games on the PlayStation 3. That's true, Replicant. I know that little bit of trivia. Gonna die with your backlog. Yeah, like everyone will, Tony, apart from Cole Eastwood, who somehow does not have a backlog and keeps on inflicting Fallout 76 on himself because he's got nothing to play. Butch Luffy, welcome. You randomly decided to listen to the almost at a million Weapon Wheel episode today. To your surprise, you went there. Yeah, that was strange, wasn't it? I don't know. Like, I don't think they liked me very much, their audience, but I was there and it got a ridiculous number of views. Nothing to do with me. I'm not like a big time influencer and celebrity. I didn't bring those views, but YouTube sure liked that episode. Replicant, your backlog is out of control. What's the oldest game on your backlog, Replicant? Like if you were to order it by date ascending, what would be sitting at the top? Tony, you might take some time off work for the Game of the Year, Armored Core 6. Do you actually reckon it's got a shot at winning Game of the Year stuff despite all of the other games that are out this year? Obviously it can be your Game of the Year, but you know what I mean. Yeah. You scheduled what? The video? What time for? When does the video release? That's exciting. Or you scheduled me dying. I hope you scheduled the video and not my death. Lies of P comes out soon. Yes, that can be added to the backlog as well. So many things. The viewers there only like people who provide fuckery. They don't care how well spoken you are. Like, it's nice of them to invite me. I don't get invited many places. I would take it. Spider-Man 2 ran away with its tail between its legs so that you could have a fair match. Yes, Tony, that's exactly how it went. You're going to push it back if I run long. Wait a minute, I missed the time. You scheduled it for 10:45. Cool, I'll be done by 10:45. No problem. No problem. Then there'll be a new exciting video. Spiders don't have tails. Yes, they do. You need to look closer. Ashen was cool. You did every achievement aside from finish the game in the Children of Cisna mode, which is extra hard mode. You did half of the game like that. You had no time to finish it before it left Game Pass. Well, I'll add Ashen to my backlog. Why not? Why not? I definitely won't chase achievements though. Don't chase achievements on anything. Oh, it comes out 16th of September, 7 days after Starfield. Oh, Lies of P. Yeah. Yes, Lies of P is a Souls-like. I want to play all kinds of stuff. Game Pass and VR, and PlayStation, and even the Switch. Oh, it's difficult. Oh, Ashen is a Souls-like. Replicant, the Lies of P demo was good. I haven't played the Lies of P demo. I try and avoid everything. Try and avoid demos of games that I'm going to play, and that one's going to be on Game Pass, so it makes more sense to me to play it when it's there. But you feel like 50-50 change the title / thumbnail. What's the title, Lila? You'll say no more on the matter. Tell me what the title is. Tell everyone what the title is. 14 hours on the demo? Did you get lost? You were running around in circles. It was like a 2-hour demo, wasn't it? Painfully, of course, you finished it. It's okay, but you were it was a bit off in parts. But the developers did take feedback and say they were improving various things that people complained about. Baz got Firewall pre-ordered. Oh, have I got Firewall pre-ordered? I thought you were saying you have. I was excited. We could play that Firewall Ultra together. I haven't got it pre-ordered. I am definitely going to get it. It's high on my August list. I'm definitely going to get it. Definitely going to play it a bit. I'm also curious about, believe it or not, the Crossfire game that comes out a week or two later, because I can play that one on my treadmill. Lies of P demo was chunky. It was huge. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. How you should feel about Xbox Game Pass Core? I don't mind that. You can have that. You apply deodorant to your shin. That would teach it. Smelly shin. Cool. So yes, there's a video appearing on my channel in an hour's time that has been heavily edited by Isla to be fun. So watch it all the way through. It'll be exciting. You're 4 or 5 streams out of the Lies of P demo. Fair enough. Fair enough. You just couldn't resist the satisfying roll on deodorant all over your shin. Fair enough. So, where did we get to? We haven't talked about Exoprimal yet. Tell them the thing. I just did kind of tell them the thing. So the thing is advice. As all of you people here are so helpful to my channel, if you are doing the whole liking thing on videos and stuff, it's very, very helpful if you watch a video, like even if you don't like it, if you just let it play through. One of the most important metrics that YouTube has for promoting videos and stuff around is how long people actually sit and watch it. So if you do want to help the channel and you go and click that video, please don't click it and then click off straight away. Just let it play, and that will help my chances of other people seeing it. So that is a thing. Good and useful to know. Again, I'm not your boss. You can watch as much or as little as you like, but that is a thing that's helpful. Even if you don't have time to watch it right now, just let it run and then come back and watch it for real later. Yep. Can you fast forward to the last 5 minutes? No, Lost Boomer, but it's only a 5-minute video or so anyway. How long's the video, Isla? I'm not sure about jumping around on the video. I think it counts like actual watch time rather than letting you skip to the end and counting all of that as watch time. It's only 5 minutes 40, so yes, you can fast forward to the last 5 minutes. Watch about 40 seconds and then skip to the last 5 minutes. Does YouTube track how long someone views a video? It absolutely does, Replicant. It's one of the most important metrics. Yes. If you fast forward it, it halves the watch time. Is there a link? No. There's no link. Video comes out in like an hour's time. And it's not super topical. It was topical last week, but it has been, like I say, heavily islanded to be entertaining. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. What about my live streams? So Replicant, the same thing is true of live streams, but it's less important. You definitely don't need to sit here and watch a whole live stream. Live streams aren't like, they're not content in the same way that needs to be discoverable or needs to be pushed and shared to other people. Live streams are just a chance for me to talk to all of you and have some fun with it. They don't need good stats. It's not super important to me. But videos and stuff, those it helps if they get good stats, if that makes sense. We can talk about streaming platforms and all that kind of stuff anytime you like, because there is quite a lot of depth to that topic. But I don't want to upset everyone because it's not interesting to people that aren't using it. Watching the VOD back is good for the channel. The channel doesn't matter. The way that YouTube's metrics work is entirely like, it's not a channel-based algorithm, it's a user-based algorithm. And if users watch anything on the channel or whatever, then it's more likely to show the video to people like them. It's complicated. It's a big old messy thing. Big old messy thing. Screaming a hole in your lung is so interesting. No, I'm not saying that we can't talk about it. Like, we can definitely talk YouTube and Twitch stuff and all the rest of it. It's just, you know, not necessarily a topic for right now. But the way it's been described to you is live streams on YouTube simply give content to people already subscribed. It doesn't add new viewers. I mean, that's like a good way to look at it. That's how I am using it. I use them not to grow the channel as such, but it's to talk to you and the badgers. What's this rubbish recommending your own videos? Yeah, that's a bit weird. YouTube does some weird things. Last thing I'd want to do is watch my own videos. I can't stand myself. Ugh, stupid voice. We do get new subs on here during the Thursday show, to be fair. So, but that's like not very much through YouTube direct discoverability. That's because people are like retweeting and all of that kind of stuff. Good night, Lost Boomer. Have a good Friday. Enjoy your sleepings and your Friday activities. Isla is drugs. Okay. Oh, Isla is on drugs. Okay. Replicant, you hate seeing yourself on camera during work streams, let alone streaming live on YouTube. Yeah, me too. Me too. I spent at least 35 years of my life dodging every camera in the world, avoiding being anywhere. So it's weird that I'm here right now with a camera pointing at me. Actually, I've got like 6 cameras pointing at me. Very strange. Very strange. So Exoprimal, like, we're almost an hour into the show, not even got through the game section yet. Who's played Exoprimal? with me or without me. And what do we think of it? It's weird to me that I've played it as much as I have and still want to play it some more, because I'm pretty sure like it's objectively not a very good game, and yet it still manages to be quite fun. It does quite a lot in terms of like technical prowess. The RE engine that Capcom are using is shiny, and like it pushes a lot of dinosaurs around, a lot of explosions, and a lot of carnage. I like that. Zero Cool, welcome. Your son loves it. How old's your son? Jay, you gotta go. No worries at all. Thank you for coming by. You can watch the end later if you want. That's obviously you're welcome to, but you don't need to. I will see you on another one. Southmore, stupid fun. It looks pretty with lots going on. It does have lots going on, and it does look quite pretty. It has like a design flair to it as well. So within all of the shitty battle passes and cosmetics and all the rest of it, they are already like pushing quite interesting crap out. They've got some flair to their design and some nastiness. They're going to do like Street Fighter crossovers and Resident Evil crossovers and all kinds of shit like that, but generally, comfort break and a beer topper. No worries, Peter. We'll wait for you. We won't. We'll carry on talking. But Baz, you didn't like listening to your voice when you were in chat with me when you watched it back. It's all good. That's one of the weird things about multiplayer games, though, is I can't expect anybody to have like a half decent microphone on their Xbox. But I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure you played at the same time as Dave, didn't you? And your voices were fine. No worries. Ida loves hearing and seeing herself. Yes. Decaf tea for episode 13. Very sensible decaf, ready to sleep. So who else though? Who else has been on Exoprimal? I've been on Exoprimal. I'm going to bring up some Exoprimal footage from my own channel, because why not? Why not? My channel. When was the last time we played Exoprimal? Oh yeah, we'll put it over here as evidence. Oh shit, it's playing in HDR. I forgot to turn HDR off. It might capture weird. Never mind. Here's Exoprimal, and I've randomly picked a part of the game that isn't gameplay. Well done, me. Good clicking, good clicking. You have a good headset on Xbox, just a Turtle Beach one. It's basic and it sounds decent, you know. Yeah, like gaming headset microphones are what they are, which is fine. Episode 13, you're welcome to jump into some games when we're doing that as well. It is all fine. Replicant, you're going to play Exoprimal next time. So the next Exoprimal session is probably Sunday. Sunday about 9 o'clock UK time. We'll jump on there and play some more. But as a game, like, it's very, very limited in modes. Most of the time running through those modes, it feels silly and pointless. I don't feel like I'm actually massively affecting the outcome. You play a game, how long does one round of Exoprimal take? Is it like 10 minutes maybe? And you spend maybe 9.5 minutes just like pissing about with dinosaurs, and then you encounter the other team at the end and decide who's going to win the game. So it feels very, I don't even know, like it's almost superficial, the first 9.5 minutes of that fight. Every time you go in, Leviathan appears after a long load time and takes the piss out of me for losing too often, says I'm not very good, and then it puts me in the game, and we're pissed about with the dinosaurs doing the silly race mode. It doesn't really matter if you're winning or losing, because generally you'll be close enough that it's always going to come down to that fight at the end with the other team to decide who wins, and for some reason it's quite enjoyable. What's not enjoyable though, Exoprimark, yeah, that leads on nicely. Exoprimark. So when it came out, look at this load time. My whole stream is just like a freaking long load time. Didn't realize how long it was while I was playing it, because we were probably having a really good conversation. But seeing it back on stream is like, wow, it's just a black screen. This is a good clip for me to show. Anyway, like in the run up to it and after playing the beta, I decided actually this game is in desperate need of being on Game Pass. It would flop horribly if it wasn't. I wrote that it should be free. Well, that's it, Baz. Like, I thought Game Pass was going to be like its salvation. It's a chance for it to It's well suited to Game Pass because you play it with friends and it's going to help like propagate it, spread it around, get people playing with each other, and maybe build it the community that it needs. And then I played it a bit more and realized, like you just said there, that that's not actually true. It's not a well suited game for Game Pass at all. It's a well suited game for free to play. It should be a free to play game. It's got battle passes and early access to characters and loot boxes and all of this kind of stuff. So by being on Game Pass, it's essentially a free-to-play game with a weird barrier to entry. So it's like limiting its own audience to who's on Game Pass, and obviously in exchange for a bag of money. But it is a free-to-play game. Here's a loop. Why not playing Ratchet? We'll come on to Ratchet in a minute. But I've already finished that. I played that on PlayStation 5 and I enjoyed it, but not enough to buy it again on the PC. So yeah, Exoprimal. I mostly play this little healing toad guy who needs to pay attention even less than everybody else. And sometimes we win and sometimes we lose, and always I don't know. And I say all of this and I'm going to be playing it on Sunday. So good God, I came back and we were talking. No waiting. I'm sorry, Peter, but you said 5 minutes and you took 20. We waited and waited. Everyone was silent. We gave each other like knowing looks, like knowing what Peter was up to. In the end, we cracked and decided we had to keep talking. So that's Exoprimal. I'm going to play it again on Sunday. I'm not going to buy new characters. I'm not going to buy the Battle Pass. If I had picked up the game for free, if it wasn't on Game Pass, I might have been inclined to get a little something. Not necessarily like ethically opposed to a free-to-play game in all circumstances, but I am opposed to games that monetize in every way that they can all at once, like World of Warcraft. Not your cup of tea, Jizzaloop. No, it wasn't necessarily mine either, and yet it was quite fun when it came to playing it. It's like Overwatch, except it doesn't matter if I'm terrible, because nothing matters, because 9.5 minutes of the round is just silliness. And it looks quite nice and keeps you busy. So Sunday there will be a bit more Exoprimal. Isla, you drove to the shop and back and kept the stream going with you. Oh, are you shaming Peter for not taking the stream to the toilet? You got to remember he's on like a wired cathode ray tube TV. And dial-up internet. It's quite difficult to lug those things around. Southmore, you can unlock new characters through gameplay and in-game currency. Yes, you can. Just like in every free-to-play game, you can grind and grind and grind and grind to unlock everything. But to get that sniper at player level 40, whoa, that's a lot of grinding. Jizzaloop, you just did Game Pass. What good games to play? What's good on Game Pass? It really does depend what you do enjoy. There's like a heap of stuff on there. Just tell me your gaming platforms, like what kind of thing you like and what you normally play. Are you a typically like Xboxy person? Have you played most of the big games that are on there? Or are you just coming across from the PlayStation side and seeing what's good? Hold phone with teeth. Well, yeah, Isla, but you can't do that with a cathode ray tube TV. You got the awkward guy at the co-op. Southmole, you haven't bothered unlocking stuff. I want the sniper because I think the sniper will be a terrible character to use through most of the round. Most of the round doesn't matter. And sniper would be a very good character to use in those last 30 seconds that do matter. No, you're not the captain now. Don't type as me. That's illegal. Ah, can you believe it? Apparently the co-op is the crime centre of the UK. Wait, the co-op is the crime centre of the UK, according to the news today. And that was before Isla went in there. It's got worse since. YouTube switched you automatically. It wasn't planned. Yeah. What else? So that's Exoprimal. What else have I played this week? I've probably played some other stuff. But we've been talking on that for like an hour. So you lot can all by all means keep telling me what you've been playing and what's good. Jesus, you started a Plague's Tale. The first one was nice. See, I wouldn't touch a Plague's Tale myself. Because stealth is for wankers and cowards, as we have established elsewhere. I'm not calling you a wanker or a coward, but Plague's Tale is very much a stealth game. And very much not the kind of thing I enjoy. I did play the opening 20 minutes of Plague's Tale, the second one, to capture a background for this show. Yeah, I did the little hide and seek game with the children and was like, nah, stealth, I hate this so much. Have I played Metal Gear Solid 5? No, I played Metal Gear Solid 1. No other Metal Gear Solids. I'm a coward with stealth games. That's outrageous, Tony. Just admit that you are the coward that likes to sneak around. Missing two of the best games of recent years. I know that Metal Gear Solid has its merits. You reckon Metal Gear Solid 5 was good? Best game ever made? I thought 5 was not a particularly good Metal Gear Solid game. Having not played it myself, feedback that I got was that the landscape was pretty bland. The broadly open, derelict world kind of ruined it and made it repetitive. But I haven't played it, so I could be wrong. And Tando and Jizzle are both saying that it's really good. Waiting for the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I've heard better things about 3. And I'm interested in them for the kind of social commentary that everyone always talks about. I'm not interested in the gameplay. I don't want to stealth. I hate stealth because I'm so good at it in real life and it feels so wrong in video games. But I do want to see, yeah, all of these things that he's supposedly predicting and all of the social commentary that's there. I think I would probably enjoy that side of it. Not in a rush to play it though. Replicant, what are the other ones? So missing two of the best games of recent years. I'm assuming, no, I'm not even going to assume that you mean 5. Which games do you like of the series? Metal Gear Solid 5, you can play it any style you like. So I can go all explosions, or I can play like a cowardly Tony. I'll add it vaguely somewhere onto the backlog, but like I say, it's a very long backlog, so. Oh, you meant the 2 Plague Tale games. Don't know about that. I'm glad you enjoyed them. Sometimes, like, I just am better off acknowledging that a game is not my cup of tea. And I think that applies to those. But Replicant, I want to know about Remnant 2 from you, because I asked and you might have answered, but I missed it. How's Remnant 2 running? I'm assuming that you're playing it on PC. Your scalp itches. Tony doesn't like any kind of tea, which is fine. Tea is not Tony's cup of tea. Shall we move on to some topics? I still invite you to talk about games because it runs very well with DLSS. Does it look really good? It's supposed to be a bit of a showpiece for Unreal Engine 5's nanite technology. Stealth in the Plague's Tale is a meme, not real stealth. You reckon Metal Gear Solid 5 would change my mind about stealth? Are there any other games that you reckon do stealth well? Or is Metal Gear Solid 5 like the pinnacle of it? Because I've always been like mildly tempted to try Hitman, which is a different spin on stealth. It's less vision based and more disguise and silliness. You missed Splinter Cell, because that was brilliant. Only Metal Gear Solid 5. Are you able to like articulate what makes it so good? And Splinter Cell back in the day. I did try Splinter Cell, but I condemned that to the stealth pile. E.T. did stealth very well. Yes, it's still buried and pretty hard to find in real life. Secret Agent Barbie. Maybe. Hell of a cup. It's good, isn't it? I got this back when this show was going to be like Tavern Talk, and I was going to sit in various taverns before I started doing all kinds of stuff. South Mole, it seems, yeah, you always seem to start work about this time. Is it a night job, or are you... I don't know, you haven't got time to tell me, that's fine. You have a great day, it is nearly the weekend. I will see you in the near future, I'm sure. So, do I dare to touch the topics today? Do I dare to touch today's topics? Shall we talk about solid state drives and Ratchet and Clank? Oh, tedious. Not like it shouldn't be tedious. It's quite an interesting topic, but it's been made tedious by the silly console war discourse around it. Sucked the interest out of it, but we'll try. We'll try. So most of the like controversy, is it controversial? Shouldn't be, but it is apparently. When Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart came out on PlayStation 5, Insomniac said like, oh, this is only possible because of the solid state drive in the PlayStation 5 that lets us load in whole worlds in seconds and do this like rift jumping mechanic that's like super impressive. Q today, 2 years later, has come out on the PC, which is obviously not a PlayStation 5 and does not have the PlayStation 5 solid state drive. It's raised some questions about the validity of that statement 2 years ago, which are fair questions. Like, it is quite an interesting topic. Kind of, if you're a nerd. I'm a nerd, so it's an interesting topic to me. Jizzaloop, you've been playing it on the Steam Deck. It's smooth and you're surprised. Yeah, so Ratchet and Clank's like signature feature, it being Rift Apart, it being made for PlayStation 5 jibber jabber, is the way that it on the PlayStation leveraged really fast storage to shift worlds in and out, and it doesn't use it very often, but when it does use it, it's quite pretty and quite effective. There's a sequence near the start of the game where dimensions are collapsing and things are going on, and these rifts appear, and Ratchet falls through them, and the time that you fall through a portal, it unloads the world that you're in and loads in a completely new one. And then you fall through these in sequence, so you're loading world after world after world. And there's a couple of other areas in the game that do similar tricks. There's a whole level where there's two versions of reality, and if you smack some crystals, then a new version of the world loads in. I can't remember the full pretense of it, but I think it was different points in time it's supposed to be loading. So you're grinding around on rails and you whack these things with your hammer, and the world shifts and changes to the other one. And on the back end on the PlayStation 5, it's clearing out the memory and pulling in a new level essentially from the solid state drive into memory to display it very, very quickly in a few seconds. The trick around it, Insomniac actually said, they said with Ratchet and Clank, they got the specs of the PlayStation 5 and that inspired them to make Rift Apart what it is, rather than the other way around. They didn't have this like rift and dimension shifting idea in mind. They took the technology and they worked in reverse and went, oh, what can we do with that? What's going to be like an interesting mechanic to do around what the PlayStation 5 is good at? And they came up with the Rift Apart and they built a story around it from that point in time, which is fine. At the time when they said that, some of us, somewhat sensible folks, took it at face value for what they were actually saying, which is that they are basically a little bit of insight into how they're using PlayStation 5 to do something new that the PlayStation 4 couldn't. And it is entirely condensed down to data transfer. Like, not very interesting if you start to scratch the surface away. If you're playing a game, it's exciting. There's shit happening on the screen that's exciting. But if you strip away the shiny veneer and look at what's happening, the whole story is like the ability to load in a lot of data very quickly and display it, which is cool, right? It works very well. I'm going to try and find a trailer to play that shows that sequence. Can I do that? Maybe I can even find me playing it 2 years ago on the PlayStation 5. No, that's too much effort. Let's bring up maybe Digital Foundry's video will do. Yeah, let's do that. Let's bring up the current Digital Foundry Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart first look from a day ago. Yeah, play that while we're talking about it, because that will show some of it. PlayStation 5 is the best machine to play Ratchet and Clank. Xbox doesn't have any game in the level of polish of Ratchet Rift Apart. I'm glad you like it. That's cool. It is, like, I think it's a really good game. I genuinely enjoyed Ratchet and Clank a lot. Didn't like 100% it because the side missions were a bit Insomniac style dull, but it's very, very pretty, fun to play. So I'm a fan of it in that sense. But technical level, what it was doing, when Insomniac said that it was using the SSD in this unique way, they weren't lying. Like, when you're playing on the PlayStation 5, that's what happens. You go through one of these rifts, it unloads the entirety of the level, and it brings in a new one. There's some hyperbole in what they say, in that mechanically, like, their vision for the game, you could achieve that in other ways. You could achieve that without dedicating the entirety of your video memory to a new level. You could either reduce the amount of data that you're loading in, or find other ways to kind of manage it. And that's what they're doing on the PC side of things. So on the PC, if you're playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, you've got potentially buttloads of memory available, 1 on your graphics card and 2 on your system. A lot more memory than a PlayStation 5 has got in most cases. So if you're a sensible developer making this game and you want it to work on a system that's not the PlayStation 5, that doesn't have that magical SSD, then you can achieve that in 2 ways. You can either reduce the amount of data that you're shifting around, which means like textures and assets getting toned down quite a bit, or you can prefetch it. You can have, so the Medium is another example that tried to do a similar thing. So you played the Medium on the Xbox Series consoles, it loads and unloads different realities on the fly as you go. If you play it on the PC, it doesn't do that. It just loads both realities at the same time, fills up the memory that you've got, and achieves the same effects in a different way. Ratchet and Clank on the PC pretty much is the latter. If you've got the specs for it, it achieves the same result in a different way by prefetching a whole load of data and just keeping it ready to go in memory rather than taking it directly from the drive. If you don't have that much memory and you don't have a drive, then it just doesn't work very well. So that's where we are with Ratchet and Clank, but discourse around it is very tiresome. You've got both sets of console fanboys at each other's throats, both trying to claim victories that they don't have. So you've got Xbox fans saying, whoa, Insomniac lied, you can play this game without the SSD. You got PlayStation fans saying, oh, it's true, it was magical SSD. All the Xbox fans were wrong because, I don't know, it stutters a bit or whatever else. And the truth is always somewhere in the middle, and all of the fanboys should all swallow simultaneously the biggest L's they can until they choke, and then the discourse will be better. That's my feeling on Ratchet and Clank. But what do we all think on it? Yeah, it's a little bit hostile. It's a little bit hostile because I just find the back and forth sucks the fun out of things. Console fans arguing over silliness, just like, this is a fun hobby. Why are you like this? Why are you like this? But it is what it is. Here's the usual console warring. Wow, that looks ugly. It's fun. Well, exactly, Replicant. Like, the technology underneath it, if you peel back the surface and look at how it's working, it is quite interesting. So in the Digital Foundry line of tests, they did one where they put it on a minimum spec system with a hard drive. They took the hard drive from a PlayStation 4 for like science to see how it runs, and it pretty much doesn't. It was a disaster because it didn't have, the system that they were using didn't have enough memory to compensate for the slow hard drive, so it couldn't load in stuff in advance, it couldn't prefetch those levels, and it couldn't read the data off the drive very fast. So it just froze for frickin' ages and then eventually crashed because Windows paging isn't very good. But that's like a fun experiment, and that's how to take it. It's an interesting experiment. And then you put a mechanical hard drive into a system that is flush with resources, and actually it works pretty well. Not quite as well as on the PlayStation 5, like there's still a bit of a stutter, but it works pretty well because you can keep up everything that you need ready to go in system memory. It's nice and fast. Jizzaloop, console wars is a good thing, but both consoles are slacking this year. Console wars are not a good thing. I get the argument for like in favor of competition and being the reason that Sony and Microsoft invest in lots of good games for us, so there are advantages to it. But console wars on Twitter are not not a good thing. And yeah, it is. It's neat to see it performing well on a hard drive. I would be tempted myself to install it and see what's going on, except I can't be bothered. Peter, it did make you decide to use higher spec SSDs in your PC build though, so you're grateful. It's one of the things about, in fact, there's two things about the next gen. I'm going to call them next gen, even though they're clearly old. Exciting things about the Xbox Series consoles and the PlayStation consoles relative to previous gen is that they have really good CPUs now, or very adequate performance CPUs that should be able to do a whole lot more than we're used to. And they have these really fast drives that make a massive difference to the way that we play games. And I like, when these consoles were coming out and people put loads of emphasis on Sony's solid state drive, I always said at the time, like, it does the things that they're saying and these are a big deal. But the Xbox One will do it as well. Like, not the Xbox One. The Xbox Series consoles will also be really good at the things that Sony are parading around. Because yes, the PlayStation drive is really fast, but yes, the Xbox drive is really fast as well. Like, if you compare them to the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, night and day difference. But if you compare the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5, there's no longer a night and day difference. That's like, yes, the PlayStation 5 is twice as fast, but you're well into the realm of diminishing returns. So all of the things that the PlayStation 5 can do in terms of like the rifts in Ratchet and Clank, you could achieve that on an Xbox Series console because it's fast enough to do that as well, broadly, more or less. And it's cool that these consoles do that, and it's a thing to, for me, it's a thing to celebrate and be excited about as far as the experience of playing games. It's sad to see it become weird ammunition and Twitter arguments. You were a console warrior since Nintendo versus Sega Genesis. You kids are just cringe. Just which side were you on the Nintendo versus Sega console warring? Nixis is a very talented... Yeah, Nixis are a really good team for ports. And you think it's all fine, but as usual with both sides, not the truth. Marketing bollocks really is. Yeah. So the statement that Insomniac made was definitely not presented very well. Both sides have marketing statements that are open to misinterpretation if you want to misinterpret them. But you're on the Sega side, fair enough. See, when I was in that era, I had the Sega consoles, so I should have been on the Sega side, but actually I quite liked playing the Nintendo ones as well, so I lived in a very peaceful little neighborhood, I guess. So on Insomniac's statement though, in terms of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, this is a little thought experiment you can all think about. What do you think Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart would look like on the PlayStation 5 if the PlayStation 5 had a mechanical hard drive? What do you think the game would have been in that hypothetical scenario? Because if you're going to question like the validity of what Insomniac said, that's the real, like, that's the crux of it. They're not talking about what's impossible on hardware that they don't have access to. They were talking about what the PlayStation 5 SSD enables them to do that they couldn't otherwise. So, PlayStation 5, all of that hardware the same except it's got a mechanical drive. I mean, ignoring the fact that they then wouldn't have made Rift Apart because, like I said, they reversed the concept from what the specs of the system were, but say they had decided they were going to make it anyway, what would the compromises have been? How would the game be different? Sonic is way cooler than Mario. Nobody here will argue with you. You can be a Sonic versus Mario warrior all you like, because Mario sucks. Just a longer transfer between worlds. How long, Peter? You think they would have kept the worlds as detailed and just added like long loading times, more shattering glass? Because option B would be you half the amount of memory that each of those worlds takes. That's not strictly true for the one that goes through worlds in sequence, but on the levels that basically shift between two, you just half the level, like the amount of data that builds up each of those environments, which can be There's ways to do that. One of them would be like more commonality between them. So if you've got two different worlds, and you can't load them instantly, then you might want to make sure that those worlds have really similarly textured rocks or something like that. Like you'd want commonality in assets so that you're not loading as much between them. What games? I did see your question earlier as well about the last 5 years. I will get to that in a second. I just wanted to Ratchet and Clank a bit more. Apparently Ratchet isn't fully utilizing data transfer of Gen 4 NVMe on a PC. Fair enough. As in it's not saturating the bandwidth. But to really do that test though, Replicant, you'd probably have to have like 8 gigabytes of memory. If you've got any more, then I wouldn't expect it to saturate bandwidth. If you've got like adequate memory to prefetch data, then you don't need to saturate bandwidth. Whereas if you're in like the Digital Foundry experiment where you haven't got enough memory to hold things, then you can talk about like... Yeah, but it's a weird one to test because you don't want to just saturate bandwidth for the sake of it. And if you've got memory available to load things in advance, it's not like Ratchet and Clank doesn't know what worlds it's going to load in 5 seconds time. You've got ages to fill up memory. This is the kind of thing that would be curious. Like, you can try it, you've got it, haven't you? Pull out a load of your RAM and hobble your RTX 4090 some. I mean, you've got enough memory in your 4090 to hold half of Ratchet and Clank probably. So it's a whole different scenario on PC. Tony, you're starting to believe that PlayStation is Apple. Yeah, maybe in some regards. Like, have that kind of pompous attitude about it, I guess. People are mad about a very well optimized game, so it runs well on your potato toaster machine, pop-tato toaster machine. I'm not mad. So Ratchet and Clank, like, I enjoyed it a lot. That was a good game. Not one of my favorite games, but it was a good game. Well worth the play. Like, very striking to look at. And the, like, just the movement was impressive. It's like, I consider it Returnal-like, because Returnal came out at a similar point in time, and they both used the circle button to invincibility frame dodge through attacks. So Ratchet and Clank was like a friendlier Returnal, but fun to play. I have a crush on Socket. What's Socket? Socket's not what the other robot's called, is it? Rivet's the other Lombax, and I can't remember what the yellow robot's called. In terms of your other question though, Jizza, the favourite games of the last 5 years, I'm really, really bad at keeping track of time. I can't remember what happened in the last 5 years. My favourite game of like the console generation, if you want to work in those terms, and I mostly play on PC, so those terms don't necessarily apply, but my favourite console game so far is probably Horizon Forbidden West, which I like more than God of War Ragnarok and all of those kind of things. But I spend quite a lot of time in virtual reality and stuff like that, so. Not being shitty, but did you feel it was worth 60 to 70 monies? Oh, Peter, that's a good question. So Ratchet and Clank Leap in Time, whatever it's called, the one before, was a £35 game. I think, no, I don't think games are worth 70 monies. I don't think Ratchet and Clank should have been. I think Sony would have sold at least twice as many if they'd kept to the price point that the one before it had. Having said that, in terms of polish and budget and spectacle, it's not lacking in any of those. My objection to it being 70 quid isn't that it's like a worse game than Last of Us or something. It's just that Ratchet and Clank was previously half the price, and I liked it being half the price. Tony, what? Socket's the robot, right? Is Socket the yellow robot? I don't know Socket. I don't remember the yellow robot's name though, so it could potentially be Socket. Right, what else have we got going on? It looks good, but not a top money game. What do you think makes it not a top money game, Peter? Because it's definitely one of the like prettiest, most performant games around at the moment. And it's not small in terms of like the hours that you can put into it. It's small compared to Horizon or something, but it's not a small game. I don't think I have necessarily like a fair reason to say that it should be cheaper, except that I like games to be cheaper, and this series was cheaper before. Oh, we've only got 14 minutes till the video comes out. Jizzaloop, there's the question. So, like, I think I kind of just explained my perspective on there. Like, there's not anything about it that doesn't warrant it being full price games, except I don't like the 70 monies price point. It's a weird one because I say that, like, I value games very highly, and I don't think there is necessarily an upper limit that would turn me away from playing them entirely. I just don't. There's a lot of issues between the way that physical and digital games are coupled and priced, and I don't think that the pricing is good. Saying that, if you were to say like Ratchet and Clank doesn't have microtransactions, like Spider-Man didn't, and God of War doesn't really. So if you were to tell me, like, if I want games that have this scale, this level of polish, this spectacle and all the rest of it, and the price of that is like 90 quid, but hey, we won't put microtransactions and battle passes in there, I wouldn't argue. Like, I'd rather games stay that way. I sincerely believe that a game like Ratchet and Clank doesn't need to be 70. I think at lower price points it would sell in multiples that would make it worthwhile. The difficulty in that, the flaw in my argument, so like Ratchet and Clank at 70 quid, like, it's going to make a certain amount of money. If you sold it at 35 quid, it would sell more than double the amount. It would sell more than double the amount, I'm fairly sure of it. The flaw in that line of reasoning and that argument for a lower price is that if you release it at 70 quid, you can also sell it at 35 quid later. So from the Sony perspective, the corporate perspective, it makes sense to charge a whole load at launch, and then you still get that lower price point at a later date, and probably get more money overall doing it that way. But still, it's just gross. Like, digital games cost a lot. I don't know. You think Miles was a bit expensive for being a bit short? Yeah. Replicant, remind me, how much did you pay for Ratchet and Clank on CD keys? There are many things in the TD box. What's a TD box? Oh, Truth or Dare box. Yeah, we're not doing Truth or Dare, but yes, I understand. I don't know. It's a good question, and game pricing and economics is like a never-ending, interesting topic. But like in the case of Ratchet and Clank, the one before, the time one, what was it called? Got Rift Apart, something, I can't remember, Cracking Time, whatever it was called. The PlayStation 4 one was equivalent in terms of polish and cost half as much because they just decided that Ratchet and Clank was a half as much IP. And I liked it being a half as much IP. Just because then I spend less money, right? I'm in favour of spending less money. 33 quid, that's a good price, Replicant. Why the fuck are some physical games still cheaper than digital? Yes, Peter, desperately needs those prices decoupling. Physical media can remain... I don't want it to disappear and die, but it is a niche that should be priced very differently to digital games. Jizzaloop loves Gears of War 3. I'm assuming as you're coming from PlayStation, you mean God of War 3. The HD God of War 3 remaster they did before, or remake. No, remaster they called, didn't they? That still holds up alright, doesn't it? More or less. And Ratchet is 50 on Steam. Yeah, see a much better price on Steam than it was when it launched on PlayStation. 70 is just not a very palatable price. Remake Station 5, welcome. The Spider-Man games are overrated. Horizons was better, and Days Gone was the best of them, but all of those 3 big Sony games were not good, even as deep as Division 1 and 2. So I didn't like Days Gone very much. Character was just way annoying. Both the characters in the intro bit were way annoying. I liked Horizon a lot, and I liked Spider-Man a lot. Division 1 and 2 were impressive, but not for me. Weird bullet sponge humans was I don't know. But again, lots of polish and lots to do in those games, so kind of respect them, but just don't like them myself. Sony digital was never cheaper. Unless you're talking about the PC side of things, like digital on PC can be cheaper, but it's never been cheaper on consoles. Because the console publishers and manufacturers and all the rest of it have always been terrified of undercutting their retail partners and losing their support and shelf space. Or at least that used to be the reason given. But the retail kind of high street stores are dying anyway, so it's a reason that shouldn't really apply anymore. It's the same with music. You can still buy a CD delivered cheaper than you can download the inferior digital version. That is bonkers, Peter. I'm surprised by that. I thought CDs at this point would be like real premium price on those. Just through like the reality of supply and demand and making a lot less of them. It was cheaper, wanna bet. Depends what you're talking about, Tony, because if you're talking about Steam and PC stuff, I bought The Witcher 3 pre-ordered before it came out for £11.50, which was way cheaper. But if you're talking about console games, pretty much from the off, they came out and said they can't undercut their retail partners. Wait, is the video coming out? Oh no, it's not. Let's do Where's Stellar Blade? Good question. Don't know when that's due. Still coming though, right? But it was a studio one there. Their first attempt to release a game, so it might be a while and it might be terrible. We'll see. Hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be good. What was the next thing? Oh, let's really quickly talk about Pro consoles. Or, you know, what do you think is going to happen? So all of the Super Insider leaks have been around, come out, and we know pretty much for a fact that PlayStation 5 Pro is coming out in like November next year. I would say this is a very reliable leak. It's very likely to be true, and the specs that have been leaked are very likely to be exactly what the console is when it comes out. So with that in mind, with the PlayStation 5 Pro coming out in November next year, do you want it? Who's looking forward to that? What do you want it to cost? What would it take to make you buy it? That's first question. Just PlayStation 5 is dominating, but they need to take some risks. They need to take... Like, I agree, but also I'm not sure they're taking the right risks. So their current foray into like games as a service and putting all of that into like 10 or 12 games as a service, that is inherently risky because there's every chance that they'll get those wrong. Games as a service games can do big money, but most of them flop and shut down. And for Sony to be putting so much into that counts as a risk. It's just not necessarily the risk that I want them to take. I think criticism of Sony's sticking to their big cinematic formula is fair criticism. I don't want them to stop making those games, but I want to see them branch out and make things like they used to as well. I would rather they were making like another Gravity Rush rather than a whole load of games as a service games. Call of Duty's still on PlayStation 5 for 10 years, enough time to play that stuff. Yeah, Call of Duty's bleh, not one for me. But yes, 10 years is plenty of time for Sony to respond and make their own kind of game for people that do like that kind of thing. I reckon within the next 10 years, Call of Duty will get dragged through the mud and finally become less of a behemoth anyway, regardless of what Sony do. It's been true for a long time that it hasn't, like, the other games have been good enough to dethrone it, but they haven't been able to because good marketing. I think with Microsoft owning it, there will be enough outlets that are looking for opportunities to drag it through the mud. And that's probably going to happen. So Call of Duty will decline in popularity. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. And like, everyone's expected Call of Duty to decline at various points in time over the last 20 years or so. Never seems to happen, but this time it probably will. Scream pizza. Scream pizza is better with veggies. Well, yeah, I don't know what scream pizza is, but you definitely want some veggies. Got to take care of yourself. Health matters and stuff. Replica PlayStation 5 is only for exclusives for you. I mean, anyone sitting with a 4090 in their PC could definitely say that about any other piece of hardware, right? COD survived Ghosts. Exactly. COD survived Vanguard as well. COD survives everything. COD survived the good Battlefields. COD survived Titanfall 1 and 2. COD survives everything. COD has survived every attempt that Halo has made. COD has survived every attempt that anyone has made. But now people will be looking to stick dirt on it, I think. Expecting COD to fail is called coping. Not really. So I'm not necessarily expecting the quality of the game to decline. I'm expecting the media and public response to decline, which is a different thing. I'm not saying that Microsoft are going to take hold of that IP and destroy it through like mismanagement or anything along those lines. I'm saying that IGN might take exactly the same game and give it a 7 this year instead of a 9 because they don't like where it's owned now. And that kind of thing will have a knock-on effect. People still very easy on Sony and they think they're going to have all of these bangers. Well, that's, you know, COD is immortal. Maybe. The thing with COD and its success is it obviously does extend to an audience that don't care about any of this stuff. And they may just keep buying it. Going to see what Tencent is doing the last 2 years, even more aggressive than Microsoft. So Tencent have got, who was it? They just got Techland, wasn't it? The Dying Light developer. Jizzaloot, the last good Call of Duty you played was Modern Warfare 2 on the PlayStation 3. The last Call of Duty game that I played was Call of Duty 2 at the launch of the Xbox 360. Didn't put any serious time into any other Call of Duty. But I get, like, Modern Warfare 2, I hear a lot of people say that was the peak of it. COD is for normies. It used to be, like 5 years ago, it was derided by a lot of people, like right in with the communities, but I don't know. You can't deny or argue with its success. Like year on year, it's always huge, whether I like them or not. And no, it's definitely not any kind of coping when I say that I think its decline is coming. I just think people will be less kind to it. It'll be a case of less frequency is balanced by a greater quality. Peter, I'm not sure that less frequency is going to be a real thing. I know Microsoft alluded to that a while ago, and maybe one day they will, maybe after the decline, but while it's cash cow, yeah, that's what they said for Microsoft, but they also said during court proceedings that they weren't actually going to change much at Activision. Like, Activision is a very successful publisher. In terms of like bounce back after COVID and all the rest of it, they were the top publisher, ignoring all of the acquisition stuff. They were the ones that pulled through with the most consistent delivery, most consistent revenue. I don't think Microsoft are going to rock the boat too much in the near future. We'll see. Like, give it a couple of years, and we'll see if Call of Duty is still reviewing as highly. And I reiterate, I'm not talking about the quality of the game. Very much just talking about like how the media receives it now that it's owned by Microsoft. Overwatch 2. Nobody plays Overwatch, Tony. Nobody plays Overwatch. That's why you're Grand Champion now, because it's just you and 6 other players sitting in matchmaking hoping that somebody turns up. Exactly, Overcrotch, more like it. Nobody plays Final Fantasy 16. I want to play Final Fantasy 16. I want to listen to Final Fantasy 16. But I am going to wait until it comes out on PC. I don't, said many times, I don't like Square Enix's handling of Final Fantasy. I don't think they're capable of delivering a good one. And I don't think that I'm going to love 16 when I play it, but I do want to play it. I want to listen to it. They have enough devs and studios and can't deliver a single AAA game. Like, it's fair to criticize their output, I think. But has to change, right? Like, they can't, like, even if they're trying to obstruct all of these studios, they can't stop them making good games forever. So gonna watch Final Fantasy 16 and button mash through it, maybe. I don't want a Final Fantasy, actually. Maybe I'll do a special Final Fantasy dedicated episode to talk about all of them at some point. But I don't care. Like, if Final Fantasy 16 turns out bad, that's fine. Like, I didn't like the look of it in the trailers. Expected it to come out bad. Don't like the direction that they went with it as an action game. But I will be more upset if Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth doesn't turn out the way I want. That one's more important, as they managed to fluke remake. Yeah, he's an apology for saying just buy a PS5. He didn't say that. He said that it's coming to PC. They've always said that it's coming to PC. They said at one point, they said that they're not going to give like a time frame for it. Their priority in that moment was the PlayStation 5, but it's always been coming to PC as well. You didn't say it's not going to PC. Tony, stop making stuff up, you and your silly bets. It's not bad, it's really good, but the pacing isn't good and too much watching cutscenes. Yeah, lots of criticism of the cutscenes. You'd rather do a Final Fantasy Mega Then the Heart Gets in the Way show than a video. Oh no, could do a video, but it would be quite difficult to catch footage across Final Fantasy games because they're very long. Remake Station, that was my question. Thank you for bringing me back to the topic. Are you happy with the PlayStation 5 Pro next year? So, what does everyone think? Who wants a PlayStation 5 Pro? What's it going to take? What price point does it need to be to get you interested in that console? Or are you just mad because you haven't got the best out of the current consoles at the moment and you're not ready for upgrades next year? So, I sincerely, genuinely, or sincerely is the wrong word because that's more emotional. I would say fairly confidently that the leaks of the PlayStation 5 Pro are accurate and it is coming next year. So take that as a given, say yes, it is coming. How do you feel about it? Don't care is very much an option, Peter. You could say I don't care, and then I'll take your opinion and you don't care, and that's absolutely fine. Jizzle, you want a Pro PS5? Elaborate. Why do you want it? What's it going to give you? For me, I would say historically with consoles, going back to the Xbox 360, I generally only gave them like 3 years of life NOA because I've always chased technology a little too hard. So I played the Xbox 360 for like 2 or 3 years, and then I ditched that generation for the remaining 5 years because PC hardware just got so far ahead. So I had like 4 graphics cards in a PC at that point and was chasing 4K resolution before the consoles had hit 1080p. And I've always just been a bit silly with hardware like that. So for me, like 5 years into the generation or whatever it's going to be, I'll be well ready for upgrades. But totally get people that aren't so happy about it because these consoles haven't done very much yet, and that is quite a short generation compared to what you used to. But we're talking PlayStation at the moment, and I still want you to tell me what you think of it, but I also want to know what people think. So give me your best speculation on whether there is any response is the wrong word, I think. We'll go with it anyway. Any response from Xbox? Is there going to be an Xbox Series 2, Series X2, Series 2X? Like, what are Xbox going to do? Are they just going to ignore it and carry on with the S and the X for the next few years? Or are they going to have a new console or two as well? So Jizzle, come to think of it now, there's no need for a PlayStation 5 Pro. The problem Xbox has is the Series S. That aside though, do you think that they're going to do anything when PlayStation 5 Pro comes out, or in the following year? That will be 3 SKUs. I don't think Xbox would be shy of that. I don't think they'd be shy of 4 SKUs. So, funny thing, like I said then, do we think that Xbox are going to respond to the PlayStation 5 Pro? And then I kind of doubled back on that, because for me, no, they're not going to respond to the PlayStation 5 Pro. Xbox have already got their plan in line. We don't know what it is yet, but it's been in place for quite a while already. So it's not, like, response is the wrong word. I would actually say if it was one way or the other, even though we heard about PlayStation's console first, I would think that it is Sony responding to what they expect Microsoft to do, rather than the other way around, if that makes sense. Because my expectation of Microsoft was that they would have consoles ready to go 4 or 5 years down the line. The only thing that kind of threw off that, I think that was their plan, but the best laid plans don't hold up to big pandemics and fluctuating hardware prices. So I'm not sure if that is still their plan, but I think at some point in time it was their plan. And I think Sony had to plan accordingly and are sticking with it. Remake Station, you would invest in PlayStation if Sony makes a new AAA game that's ambitious and not a safe movie game, and also that Sony is serious about making a PC store like Xbox does. So what kind of AAA game are you talking? Because obviously, like, they're putting a lot of money and budget into their games as a service games, and those are possibly ambitious, even if they're copying everyone else. But you want something, I assume you still want single player, you just want something that doesn't have climbing and long grass. Gaming industry is dead and all we have are remakes and old IPs. I mean, sample some virtual reality. It's a wonderful place. Replicant, the rumor is RDNA 3, but the ray tracing isn't that great and it's power hungry. This is, like, the difficulty around the upgrades is that AMD aren't very good as well. So it's only, like, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago on Go Live, that I didn't think new consoles made sense with AMD's roadmap and what they can actually deliver at a good price point. But it is further out than I was talking about. So November next year, I believe it. I think the console is going to be exactly what it is. I don't think they're going to get anywhere close to Nvidia's ray tracing, because AMD can't, but it's going to be a good jump over the PlayStation 5, going by the specs that leaked. Remake Station, you seriously have no desire anymore to buy a PlayStation, and you actually want to. It was MLB The Show that made you want a PlayStation 4, not The Last of Us or God of War. So yeah, I've never touched a baseball game. Well, I played a baseball game on the original Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES. There was a baseball game. But I can't say I'm a baseball fan, so... And I can't imagine how baseball games are fun. And that's not a dig at you, like, I believe you, but I couldn't design a fun baseball game myself. I couldn't make the hitting the ball mechanic or the pitching mechanic fun to play. So I don't believe that anybody else could, despite the success of those games that proves me clearly wrong. There really isn't an exciting upgrade path for the PS5 Pro. No, but so the specs that they leaked are quite simple, right? In terms of, like, you could probably math out the kind of performance that you're going to get relative to the base console. And it's not trivial. Replicant, being a gaming Nostradamus, you think Microsoft aren't doing a mid-gen next year, but wanted Gen 10 earlier than Sony? Yeah, well, that's another thing that I do say. Microsoft don't, like, the concept of a mid-gen refresh is not a thing at Microsoft anymore. They don't have generations like that anymore. They can release either one or two consoles, and it's not really a mid-gen or a new gen. It's just their new consoles in the way that, like, phones release. They just carry over, right? So they'd release the Xbox Series 2 S and X, we'll say, because that's what I would call them. And those will run for like 3 or 4 years. And the current ones, the Series 1 and the Series X, will continue to be supported for another like 4 years from that point. And it'll just be smooth transitions across generations, to the point that generations isn't really a concept that exists. Just like in phones, you don't really talk about what generation of iPhone you can play various games on. They just move with the times. You think the next gen Xbox would be 2027? That's a long time to be behind if a PlayStation 5 Pro does come out in 2025. Tony, unless PlayStation 5 Pro supports PC VR, there's no need for it. What does that mean? What do you mean supports PC VR? PlayStation VR is just fine. Whose idea was the generation thing? Whose idea was the generation thing? It was not an idea, it was a natural consequence of the way that hardware was formed. Back in the day, like, each bit of hardware was way more bespoke. So if they wanted to make something new and move with the times and technology, then they were making something new. And they just weren't compatible with previous things. Remake PlayStation 5, PlayStation VR 2 on PC supported would make you much more interested and cheaper. And so, Replicant, you don't think they're going to change the naming convention? Series 2 S and X. That's why. Yeah. I don't know where to place the two, whether it's Series 2 S and X or Series S2 and Series X2. But that's kind of my assumption for what they were going for. Only Xbox and PlayStation do generations, though. No generations. Like, people talk about this being generation 9, I think, and Xbox has only had like 4 consoles, so it's definitely not an Xbox and PlayStation thing. The Nintendo Entertainment System and the Master System were against each other, and then the Mega Drive and Super Nintendo, that was another generation. Then Nintendo kind of went off kilter and went out of lockstep with the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation 1. So Sega Saturn and PlayStation 1 were there. The N64 kind of transcended generations. It came out a bit later than the Saturn and the PlayStation, but it overlapped with the PlayStation 2 and the Dreamcast a bit as well. And then Nintendo just gave up and started making silly toys. But no, generations was a thing before PlayStation or Xbox were even in the game. Replicant, you think they could use the Elite naming convention for mid-gen Series X Elite? Yeah, it would be an option. I just don't think mid-gen is a thing that Microsoft will do, or how they'll reference it. We'll see though. We'll see. Like I say, I think Microsoft's plan going into this generation, like 2 years before the launch of these current consoles, is that they'd be releasing the Series 2 S and X about 4 years later, 4 or 5 years later, but things happened in the world that were outside of their control, so I don't know if that's still their plan. I don't know that it was their plan in the first place, but that's my kind of gut feeling on what they were planning. So we'll see. Let's do not truth or dare. Let's do the questions and answers before we wrap up, because my voice is going and it's actually already been 2 hours. That's a long one. They're always long. This was supposed to be a short show. Do you know what? Before this, I was configuring vertical recording layouts for all the content that I stream to make it easier for my wife to stick things on TikTok and Instagram and all of that stuff. And I meant to go back to it after this. I meant to get this done nice and short and then go back to getting my OBS plugins working so that I can do vertical form factor content at the same time as normal landscape stuff. But no, I didn't. I ran really long, started to lose my voice, and we still got all of these questions to go. So, first one is in there. It says, truth. I guess technically I just gave you a truth, Tony, so that was true. Remake Station, no worries. You can't troll me with console stuff though. I take everything up, like very literally, and just answer very stone cold. Because that's me. No heart or feelings. Best type of keyboard, mechanical. There's a question, Tony. That's quite an interesting one, actually. Everyone, like any gamer, will tell you that you need a mechanical keyboard for the clicky switches and the instant response. And I don't personally care for it. The best type of keyboard for me is one that has nice, snug feeling buttons that don't make a noise. I hate the click of a mechanical keyboard. I have a mechanical keyboard. I use it. In fact, I'm not going to show you because it's gross and dirty. That's really gross and dirty. I'm not going to show you. The keyboard that I've got has slightly raised, textured WASD. So W-A-S-D are like slightly curved in, slightly raised and textured, and it makes for a very nice gaming keyboard. But it is mechanical. It does clack, and I don't like the noises. So for me, the best type of keyboard is a nice, snug, silent one. And I don't have a good brand to recommend for you. Why, Tony? Are you upgrading? Next question, please. Imagine WoW 2 or StarCraft MMO is gonna happen. Yeah, World of Warcraft is a difficult one to reboot. But if they want to bring it to consoles and stuff, I'd rather they reboot it than try and move over current clunky bastard World of Warcraft. And a StarCraft MMO, yes, sign me up. I would like to see that. Peter is secretly Batman. Peter. Are you afraid of bats? Replicant, you get in trouble when your girlfriend is phoning you when she's away with work. She hears the clicky keyboard so she knows you're not paying attention. Yes. Tell her not to phone while you're busy. Yeah. Next question, please. Coke or Pepsi? Neither for you, Tony. You're on an anti-bloat, no Coke diet. I mostly drink if I'm going to these ones. They're Cherry Pepsi Max. And they're very nice with this cherry rum for a very cherry Pepsi drink. Pepsi Max, what are those? Do you not have Pepsi Max? Yeah, I guess it's the competing line to Coke Zero. Like it's a non-sugar one, but not the same as Diet Pepsi. Because it's cooler, because it's called Max. Alright. Kirby is dead. No, Kirby is baby. Kirby is... I can't, like, misread baby and dead very often. I'm going to try and avoid that in future. Kirby is baby. Okay. Is Kirby male or female? Kirby is Fucking Nintendo pink floofball. I don't know, Tony. Is there... How could I what? I don't know, Kirby. I've never played a Kirby game. I don't even know what noises Kirby makes. I don't know if Kirby is annoying or not. So, you're going to have to ask a real gamer, not casual non-Nintendo me. Next question. Of course, anybody there that wants to volunteer your answers, you're very welcome to. Perfect timing, Tom. Let's get started. The theme tune does say he. Well, there you go. We've got official answer in the theme tune of something. You would like to know how to poop money. Tell me your seat. Tony, you spent 300 and something money on a headset. You tell me the secret. You've got a 4090. You tell me the secret. I just ask people for £800 super chats and then I roll around in the super chat money. Next question. Thank you, Isla, for answering Tony's question. You are the real nerdiest of gamer nerds. Armored Core 6 Game of the Year, baby. Good. Tony, good. Like I said before, you get to see a mech dashing around and the trees fall over and there's slashing and lasers and explosions. It looks like it's going to be a fun game. I will play it when I can. And if there are multiplayer functions, I will accelerate so that I play it sooner while you are. Actually, you're casual because you don't play the right games even though you play them forever. That makes you the nerdiest of nerd gamers. You know the Kirby gender. Nerd gamer. Next question, please. Tom, I'm afraid you just tuned in for the Q&A bit at the end. We're just running through these, but you can tell us what you've been playing in the meantime, like we did at the start. Have we run out? Was that the last question? Or are you doing a victory dance because you are the nerdiest of nerd gamers? It's Tony. That is a Tony interrogation. There are a lot. You drowned in Minecraft. Yeah. Am I going to play Backgammon 3? Baldur's Gate 3. It has 174 hours of cutscenes. I am going to play it. Maybe I'll play it in co-op with someone. Not for the best weird bestiality stuff, but for the sake of being... I've never played Baldur's Gate 1 or 2, but I really like Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, so I consider Baldur's Gate 3 to be a pseudo-sequel to Divinity Original Sin 2. And those are, like, they're brilliant games, so I will play that when I can, but it's so long, and it's so close to Starfield, and it's so close to all these VR things and projects that I've got going on, and then Prey Dog's gonna increase my backlog by about 1,000 games all in one day. So I don't know when I'm going to play it. I do want to, though. Do I like cheese? Yes, Tony. I do like cheese. I am of simple cheese tastes. I would take cheddar over, like, moldy cheeses. But yes, I do like cheese. Replicant drama about Remnant 2 devs fully adopting DLSS as a tool. Thoughts? I'm not concerned as the game isn't unoptimized, as in it's not CPU bound. NVIDIA created DLSS as a tool for devs to use and a feature for gamers. Yeah, this is why I was asking you so much about the performance. So the developers came out and told people that they hadn't intended for Remnant 2 to be played at native 4K. Like, it's all optimized and spec'd around using either DLSS, or it includes AMD's FSR, and it includes Intel's, whatever they call it, AI upscaling as well. And Intel's one is available to everybody and supposedly quite good in that game. I'm always in favor of, like, there's a theory that if you, like, some people that have spent money on like 4090 or something like that, or even like any other card, they get upset and cry that things aren't optimized if they can't run games at the very highest settings at all times. But I always used to like it when PC games shot above current hardware levels and gave you things to play with on future hardware. So that was cool. That's one of the advantages of PC, like scaling across all kinds of tech, including tech that people don't necessarily have yet. Remnant 2, if they want to push the bar out and they are giving you, I think if it relied on DLSS, people would have a right to be pissed, because DLSS is not supported on quite a large range of hardware. But because it has 3 different upscaling technologies and they're just asking you to use one of them and it's definitely going to be compatible with your system, I don't think that is nefarious. I think that's cool. I guess there's like a slightly awkward situation where I don't know if it's obvious in game. Like if you're in game and you select native 4K and you turn off the upscaling, does it give you any like warning or context? Does it tell you that actually that's probably not going to work very well, and give you a recommendation not to do that? Or do they just let you play it, have trouble, and then tell you on Twitter that you're doing it wrong? Never meet your heroes. Wait a minute. Chihuahua cheese. Oh, Tony, I'm grossed out by the process of making Chihuahua cheese, but I will try it next time I see you, for sure. It's weird about music. Peter might have already asked this. My favorite Mosok album. You probably did already ask, and like I said, we would have glossed over it because I skip over music conversations. Don't know why, but it's a habit I can't break. Can't talk music. So, which is weird because we were talking like movies earlier, and I was quite happy to go completely off track and talk about films and stuff, but it is what it is. Next question, please. And Peter, what's your favourite Mosok album? And Replicant, you're not obsessed about hitting native resolution. For the longest time, I've been trying to tell console people in their console war arguments to stop talking about resolution, because it's not the way that the technology is moving. Like every major pioneer of visual technology is pushing towards finding ways to deliver good image quality with lower resolutions. So yes, you're correct. People shouldn't obsess with native 4K because it sets up a silly target that does more harm than good in most cases. Music is such a personal thing. I like an awful lot of music, an awful range of different types of music as well. But it's not that it's a personal thing, it's that it's a thing that I don't know, I guess attributed more value in who a person is, if that makes sense. Like you get judged for what music you listen to way more so than anything else that you could talk about. You could talk about films and people don't normally like decide that you're a bad person or something. Music has always just been like weirdly tied to social stigma, so I just avoid talking about it. Not that my music taste is that weird, but just a weird topic. Your most played album over the decade, All the Young Dudes, Mott the Hoople. What was the last album that I played? I couldn't. So Peter, I don't play albums. I'm not a disc person. I have 10,000 tracks on Spotify. and I say shuffle these 10,000 tracks, and it seems to cycle through a list of about 30 of them on loop. Doesn't shuffle very well at all. Spotify's weird. But I'd like it to play all of those 10,000 tracks. The more I justify not telling us, the more you want to know. Ha ha ha, that's my plan. The video is out in a minute. Promote it now. Didn't it come out half an hour ago? You can't do that. You can't use shuffle. I understand Replicant, like albums, particularly in years gone by, would have been more tailored to actually play in a specific order, and shuffle would be a weird choice. Plus, like, yeah, you get in a mood for a particular vibe or style of music and just wanted to keep playing. So I get the curated playlist. I just don't have time to curate them. The main time that I listen to music is like while I'm driving or working or something like that. So don't actually have the hands free to curate playlists. Although I do every now and again make an effort to. Every now and again I get a little bit motivated and I set up a particular playlist and start slowly adding things to it. But then I forget and never actually listen to them. One band or artist at a time does make a lot of sense. I do understand that. You pushed it to 23:15, so the video's out now. As soon as this show ends, there's a video on the channel. You should watch it. You can take your comfort breaks and top up your beers, but there's a video there. Watch it. I haven't watched it yet. I've watched most of it, but I haven't watched it in its entirety all the way through like that. I'm sure it's very good though, apart from me being in it, but you know. Is that it? Did we run out of questions? Was that the last one? Gonna give it like a minute's silence and pause for anyone that wants to do their discounted today only minimum 200 monies super chat, apart from badgers who don't get the discount. If you're a badger, it's 800 monies. In the Q&A box, I'm assuming, can other people see that, Isla? Can you see that on YouTube? There's a link to it. I'm not going to read the link out. Oh no, it's pinned. Apparently I pinned it, but it was Isla that pinned it. There is a link to the video pinned in chat right now. You may go and watch it as soon as we say bye. Minute silence for the super chats. Okay, that's long enough. Yeah, so tomorrow we'll probably have, oh, I don't know, I shouldn't say actually. I've not spoken to the wife to know what kind of time I'm around tomorrow. Tomorrow I might have some kind of stream. And Saturday we'll definitely have Go Live. And Sunday we'll have Exoprimal, maybe some other stuff going on. There might be some day streaming at the weekend. I don't know. There's all kinds of things coming up. As always, if you're here right now or if you're watching after the fact, if you popped in and said hi, if you just stayed in the background silent, much appreciated. Thank you for giving me any of your time. Go Live guests, I don't know yet. Replicant, I don't know. Fingers crossed. It's good ones, but I'm sure we'll make a decent show of it regardless, because, you know, good podcast show thing. Tell me you like my face and voice and opinions, so I give you more footage to edit. Nice try, Isla, but I've seen the setup. I've seen you plotting and planning in the background. No Cole, I don't know for sure. I wouldn't have thought so, because he was on last week. But I stay well clear of arranging guests and things. Let Gaz take care of that. So I never know who's going to be there until they're already booked in. Yeah, that's it. So, wow, that person in the background's tiny, or I'm a giant. Look how tiny she is. Pathetic. Sick of his face. Oh, Colt's face. Fair enough. Fair enough. I thought you meant my face. I was like, oh, Isla said be nice, and you said you're sick of my face. You're doing it wrong, but I accept your hostility. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming by, and that is the end for now. More things coming up. Leave any comments and questions and, you know, the usual drill. Smash the like button many times, and I don't know, I need an outro. One of these days I'll have such a brilliant one. That day is not today.